huddled over here, and they're discussing the situation right now. Also, keep you informed, we've got a report that there may be a tire problem with Scott Pruitt as well, and the leader will be pitting, Andre Ribeiro, in 2 laps.
Problems sometimes are encountered while coming into the pits here because the cars race with these carbon fiber brakes in order to save weight at the brake. They don't heat up quite as easily. They're not as well balanced when you stop. So sometimes you see them have trouble coming in. Watch Little Al.
Jr. running second, peels off. So does the leader, Andre Ribeiro. So Little Al follows the leader into the pits. And we'll watch both of these cars as they come to their marks simultaneously. Ribeiro closest to you, Al Unser Jr. well down the pits.
Classic racing.
Everything routine for Unser, just waiting for the fuel. Got him rolling in 13.6.
Gary, problems with the Firestone tires on the right front. A blistering problem for Andre Ribeiro. The right front tire has a blister all the way around. So as we suspected, there are tire problems both for Goodyear and Firestone. We can get a shot of it right here. You can see the blistering, not on the right rear, but on the right front. Well, the problem that we have is we have a crewman that was trying to hide it away from us. We got him away. There you go. Just like Goodyear.
The guy shouldn't try to hide it, Jack, because we can see it on television. That's exactly what's happening. And a lot of that is caused from the track. It's very hot today. The sun beats on the track, gets the surface very hot. The tires have not blistered all during practice and qualification. But this is what happens when the temperature goes up. Now right there you can see that hair growing around on Pruitt's car, and that's blistering. Now the tire's not unsafe. If it doesn't get any worse than that, of which we've watched him run for a long time, it's not unsafe, but it does take away a little bit of traction.
And as you can see there, Scott Pruitt moved up from 12th, now runs in the lead, due for a stop any time now. And we'll listen in, see if they're going to call him.
Got a clean pit, got a clean pit. The speed limit, be careful about them locking up the wheels.
That's Jim McGee talking.
Gentlemen, we got the same problem with the right front on Scott Pruitt's car. Blistering on the right front, taking a survey of the right rear as the crew completes their work and taking on the methanol fuel. No problem with the right rear. So it's right fronts for Firestone, right rears for Goodyear.
Paul Tracy suddenly slowing down. Was running in 8th. Heading down into the pits, but remember, he was just there.
Got something wrong because he was too low to be coming into the pit, Paul.
And the leader is now Mauricio Gugelmin, who should stop any time now. But remember, there he is. In fact, he may be dialing for the pits right now. He is. He led the most laps at the Indianapolis 500. Jimmy Vasser will assume the lead. That is assuming he does not come in. If he does not, then Andre Ribeiro is back in the lead, followed by Al Unser Jr. Fittipaldi, Emerson in this case, makes his stop. Pit road still a very busy place on the 92nd laps. Emerson Fittipaldi. This is more than routine. Gary?
Notice at the front of the car, the air jack is broken. They had to manually use the lift to get him up in the air to change the tires, and now he's gone. But that means an extra man has an extra duty, and it takes a little more time.
Gives you an idea, too, of how strong those noses are when you can just stick something under there and lift it up. Andre Ribeiro now with Gugelmin and Vasser both to the pits, picks up the lead once again, followed by Al Unser Jr. 93 laps complete. Jack Arute, Jimmy Vasser's in.
And they're having trouble getting the car into the proper gear. He gets away, but Jimmy Vasser also on board with Goodyear's. He has a blistering problem on the right rear.
You can test all you want, but on these very high-speed tracks, temperature conditions like this and the pressures of racing itself will bring out characteristics that you can't test for.
Also,
sometimes.
Sam, it's the new pavement causes a lot of this. The heat and the new pavement. There's so much traction on this new pavement, it's hard on the tires.
Andre Ribeiro, who has climbed up through this field from 10th, looking good. Parker Johnstone is back in the race, but 31 laps behind this car, the leader, Andre Ribeiro. 500, where Andre Ribeiro has just completed 100 of 250 laps as the leader of the race. Saturday on ABC Sports. With a toss of the ball and a swing of the bat, we'll take you to the ballpark on Baseball Night in America. Check your local listings for the game in your area and catch all the regional action on Saturday live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central here on ABC Sports. Emerson Fittipaldi's been given a black flag for pit speed limit. Let's go to Gary Gerould in the Newman Haas pit.
Well, the remaining portion of the Newman Haas team astride the motorcycle, ready to go back and try to cool down. Paul Tracy, this was an engine-related problem?
Yeah, I think we dropped a rod. It shook real hard coming through the middle too. Big disappointment for the Kmart Budweiser team. The car was handling great. We were able to stay with the Hondas, stay with Ribeiro, and I was cruising, not turning a lot of revs, running 6th gear. So it's a big disappointment, really. So we move on to the next one.
What's going to be the key for whoever wins this race under these conditions?
Well, it's awfully hot, and there's still a lot of guys running and just biding your time and waiting it out, and that's what we were trying to do. But we had a motor failure.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
So Paul Tracy, he's out. Andre Ribeiro is still the leader, followed by Unser Jr. and Scott Pruitt. Here's the stats on the last set of pit stops. And as you can see, the team, the Pac West group, did a nice job for Mauricio Gugelmin. Everybody else in order, but Gugelmin, he picks up a position. After 100 laps, we have had 2 cautions for 12 laps. 5 cars are out of the race. We've had 7 different leaders and 9 lead changes, and the average speed's coming back up. 184, now pushing 185 miles an hour. There's Parker Johnstone back into the fight, 62 miles behind his Honda teammate, Andre Ribeiro. Teammates in the engines, but of course not in teams. Andre Ribeiro drives for Tasman. And we'll take a look now at the relationship from Andre Ribeiro. We look now for Al Unser Jr.
10 seconds and change back.
There he is. So Andre Ribeiro handling up all of the field here at the race.
And Ribeiro is pulling away. He's a young man who studied law for a couple of years. He's very inexperienced on ovals, which makes what's happening all the more extraordinary. In this year so far, he's only scored 2 points on ovals, ranks 20th in IndyCar standings for his oval performances, but this is something else.
Now, Little Al's going to be running in 6th gear, or what I was referring to earlier is the overdrive. I know Roger Penske. I talked to Roger last night. He's not going to let that engine over rev. His main purpose is to finish. He feels that if he does that, that's the only way he's going to have a chance of winning. Honda's for sure outpowering everybody pretty bad.
Ribeiro is trying to pick up drafts where he can. You saw him nip in behind Parker Johnstone, and there again, he obviously is not just cruising by a long shot, and I'm thinking he's using the road, Bobby, in a way you rarely see here. He's all over the track.
He's most likely doing the same thing that Little Al is, running in what their overdrive gear would be, Sam.
Teo Fabi was trying to stay on the leader lap there, couldn't do it. Andre Ribeiro got around him. Jenny Vassar was running 9th, but he's got a problem, Jack?
Well, indeed he does. They took on tires and fuel, but more importantly, Jimmy Vassar had to come in. They're going to have to exchange the battery and what they call the track box. Now that means they have to take the rear deck lid off the car, one of the side pods. The crew will have to put an alternate battery and box in there. This is not the ECM, the electronic management, but more or less what they utilize to control the voltage to the motor itself. So obviously, as smooth as this track is, still the electronics have got a problem.
Boy, the 4th row really paying off here. Ribeiro started 10th. He's first. Al Unser Jr. started 13th. He's second. Scott Pruitt started in 12th, and he is third. Andre Ribeiro continues to lead here. Traffic running just ahead of him. Take a look at his fastest lap versus his fastest lap. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at the Michigan 500, presented by Speed Stick. Nothing has happened while we've been away. Andre Ribeiro is still the leader over Al Unser Jr. He's got 12 seconds on Little Al, and then 6 seconds back is Scott Pruitt. The rest of the top 12, well, they're running several laps down, but remember, that really doesn't matter here at Michigan International Speedway. You can make those laps up in just no time. Parker Johnstone, who's come back into the fight, as we said, and we showed you, Well, he just ran the fastest lap thus far at 2:26. He really is on the fly. Running in last place, of course, almost 60 miles behind the lead. But he's going to stay in this fight.
The incredible thing is, as they run right now, there's a Reynard chassis in first, a Penske in second, a Lola in third, and a Honda engine is in first, a Mercedes in second, and a Ford in third. So we have most incredible mix of manufacturers running out front right now. Eliseo Salazar, who started 23rd, now running 7th, so he's coming up through the field.
Keep in mind, Paul, the fastest lap of the race has been 229 miles an hour. Qualification fastest lap was 230 miles an hour.
All right, let's go to the pits. Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, we checked with the tire engineers as to what changes might we look for in the next series of pit stops to resolve the blistering problems. Remember, they're indiscriminate. They both have struck Goodyear and Firestone. Both sets of engineers said they think they can cure them by changing the tire pressures and making minor wing adjustments. Nobody, I repeat, nobody seems all that concerned about the blistering problem right now. Let's check in with Gary Gerould. Gary?
Well, we're down here in Camp Penske, and Al Unser Jr., of course, running a solid second, and we were just doing some quick checking on his pit stop sequence. He went 41 laps on that last stop. We're anticipating him now in 7 laps on lap 125. The point we want to make here is that it looks like he's getting excellent mileage, and he's on the threshold of turning this 500-mile race into a 5 pit stop race. If he can, that could be huge. Now, yellow flags, of course, could have a major influence on that. But they love the way the car's handling. We'll see him inside of 7 laps for his 3rd stop of the day.
Christian Fittipaldi, boy, he came in, tried to make a stop. Didn't get it stopped at all. He's going to have to go around.
Well, those guys were lucky they moved out of the way on that one, Paul. He just obviously didn't see his pit, went right by his tires. Thank God he didn't hit one of them. Did a lot of wiggling and right back on the track. Now he goes around another lap, comes back in. He felt that the loss would be less this way than it would if they'd had to pull him back in.
Currently runs 17th, Christian Fittipaldi. Here's a replay of that, Bobby.
Yeah, and there's it locking up the front tires. He can't stop. Now, I think he should have stopped and got pulled back. That would have saved a heck of a lot less time, or taken a lot less time than going around here. It comes back in again.
There's the problem of the carbon fiber brakes hooked up with the problem of getting onto the concrete smoothly. It's very hard to get these cars slowed down here.
Bobby, which surface will give you more braking, the asphalt or the concrete?
Well, it just depends on the state of it. Right now we have new asphalt, which has more traction than the concrete. By the time the asphalt cures, it'll probably come being close to the same.
Mauricio Gugelmin in trouble. He was running 4th. Look at the back end there, Bobby.
Smoke coming out of the back. That's a sign that he's probably got an engine problem. And keep in mind on the engine problem, they're wide open all the way around this racetrack, and especially with the 40 inches of manifold pressure. Literally wide open all the way around the track. And
what that will do is bring Eddie Cheever up into 4th place. Cheever, who's back in the cycle now. Gary?
Mauricio Gugelmin, and they suspect that it's a wheel bearing problem at the right rear. That's one of those stress load factor deals that you always contend with at Michigan. The crew is assessing right now. When Big Mo gets a cool drink, now the engine is turned off and they've got some work to do. What an unfortunate break for Gugelmin.
And when the smoke comes out the back like that, we often think that it's a engine, but in this particular case, those bearings are going to smoke too. We've seen a lot of bearing problems so far today, and there it is, the right rear. Those guys already knew it. And what happens is the car starts wiggling on the racetrack. The drivers have already been told that they're going to have or could have these problems, so it's just a normal thing. But the reason they keep changing them is almost all the guys seem to be having this problem. So how it turns out on the end is the guy that does the fastest work in a hurry going to come out ahead, I guess.
I think that I'm not absolutely sure of this.